the bustling land of Abakaliki, a city known for agriculture, mining, and infrastructural development, the story of survival unfolds each day. Here, women rise with the sun, not to the comfort of offices or markets, but to the sites where stones, sand, gravel, amongst other heavy loads, determine their daily bread. For these women, labor is not a choice, it is a necessity.
Ogama uruka penta, oloka huwa. More support jekwa. Me kobo rie ka boto dobekwi. Ho support ko. Akwentas kon go joshimo ko dode.
Ihe mere nji aro bikọrọ agna since di m nwụrụ n'ọzọ onye enyemaka nwe. So m chọọ iji ya na-azụ mazụ. Otu ahụ rụta 75 taa. Nwere ya nnata nruo n'ebube ngote garị. Ngote nke fọrọ nkwa ugbo school. Ụfọdụ oge ngwa da school ka ha nwekwere m patient ka m gakwa ọzọ nweta ego ngekwe kwụọ ha.
Abika ala bori banye sonsi banye mege banye lovu. No ka ham kwa no bu and after them. Ti wan shy mem chechi rice. Rice bem ne shi na condition no ka ba chin an patale the cement waro.
In spite of the preposterous pay, getting booked is not guaranteed. The women need to put up a fight to augment their chances of securing a client. This is Nina Clement Waibo, once a wife, now a widow. Her story mirrors that of many women in this city.
Before Bidora, I know him the shifu back, Manashki the Dakwan. Opuna did the aqua that did the course. Unchori, I had made if the Egoma Onion Bitteria. They do mass Magbatego and they could go school. And they even know who was standing Ogamanos. And not as an village banner. Nagadane, a motor basic communication on Masanaga school. Condition a honey related to Jubaffa. On that, the thing be to say too much. Come and get you, and the words you get helping with what they want. More videos they put it to top of video war. Only can you or 7,000. Sometimes over 90 concrete and 9,000. Yeah, kind of make the work it out. Once they borrowed it. Only can put your top out there, Anyana, what do you hope and Gary? This month to get a whip of the banjo or time behind Banya Buriana, what do buy now? But you wanted through 1,000 Hanatogato. But you wanted 500 Hanatogoto. Moji ibeduru mmadụ dashọ gị 200 ka iji gbaa ọkada dachi azọ bụ keke a na-adagbawa 200 ahụ na-atọkwa gị ụtọ. Ọ bụrụkwa na oge duru gị n'ụlọ onwe ebe ị ga-ejedebe ijikwere ụkwụ na onwe ụbọchị ga-abịacha onwe ha ijefe 1 week for a month onweghị ihe na-arụ ijikwere ụkwụ na-akụ ya na-eje n'ụtụtụ na ehihie na abalị nwere ebe ọbụla o si abịa ihe ego ga-echi wee bata n'aka otu ụwa anyị amanye anya mahụ n'ebe anyị ga-etinye aka onwe na ahịa anyị na-azụ ka anyị ga-asị ka anyị nwere ego ọkwa onye nwere ego na-adị eje gotewe ihe jerewe ahịa rute n'uru mana ego adịrọ dị onweghị ebe anyị fụrụ ọrụ anyị na-eje.
With her husband gone, the weight of responsibility rests squarely on her shoulders. Feeding her children, paying school fees, and keeping a roof over their heads. These burdens drive her to work where many fear to tread. From morning till evening, Nenna strains her body under the weight of cement mortar. Heavier than hope itself, each thrust of the shovel echoes sacrifice. Their voices may rise from the margins, but their appeal speaks to the center of our humanity. Livelihood and a future for their children, devoid of damages to their biological and physical attributes. The all-day intensive hard labor for a pay of 6,000 naira, $3.91, amounting to a lesser figure on the black market. At the end of each grueling day, she retires not to rest, but to another duty. Being a mother. In the dim light of her small home, she becomes cook, caretaker, and comforter. Here, she hides her pain behind a cheerful voice, so her children can still dream.
Thank God. Chidera.
The health toll of such work cannot be given a blind eye. According to a medical expert at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Abakaliki, the long-term effects of this hard labor on feminine bodies are devastating.
In other places, when growing up, I never imagined that I would see women doing this kind of jobs. Until I came to Abakaliki, I was like, you come to a building site and the women are even more than the men, and the energy they use in doing these things. Sometimes you even be tempted. I prefer taking the women to the men. You know, that means that they are even stronger, you understand, than even the men.
Always sometimes I get chora. Inata, ahuna afugo for. Iman with the woga bron is a good dog of young one. He met to keep with the wogi. Mabon and Muro, Ishigana. Men
and women are built differently. A woman's bone density is not as strong as a man's bone density. There are two different densities. Men can be able to adapt, can be able to, cope with some of those levels of stress and demands on their bodies. But a woman's body is not necessarily built to carry some of those burdens. When you have to start carrying some of these things on your head, sometimes you have to lean forward, you have to bend down to lift it. These things are putting a lot of pressure on the spine. The neck in particular. You see, the neck is like the trans route through which all the nerves from the brain will now get to other parts of the body. That's why if someone has a neck injury, he's bound to be paralyzed from the neck down. But you can have an injury to the lower back and at least the upper part of the body will still be working. That's how important the neck is. So when you carry some of these things, you are prone to a collapse of the spine. The bones at the neck would gradually be collapsing because we are putting pressure on them. When you look into some of these bones, if you look at them, you see that they are made of a lot of air spaces. So those air spaces are just meant to be cushioned. It's not like a metal, a rigid metal. It's like it's a bone that has so many air spaces inside. So when you put pressure on the neck, it will start collapsing. Now over time, you have a collapse of the neck bones. That is what we call cervical spondylosis. Now when you have that collapse, some parts of that bone will start pushing or pressing against the spinal cord. Now that can cause a lot of problems for you, starting from abnormal sensations on the hands. Some persons will even come down with inability to use the hands. Some other persons, it can even take off the whole supply, of the neck down to the body, and you see someone now becoming a vegetable. We have a lot of these cases. You understand? We see a lot of these cases, people who just from cervical spondylosis come down as vegetables. So it's something that, of course, it's something that happens, is a build-up. So as one continues doing these things, your body is not built for such things. You can come down with certain problems like this. And you can imagine the burden on somebody who is like a vegetable. When we say vegetable, you basically can't do anything. You can't clean yourself, you can't eat, someone has to feed you. You just be defecating on yourself, urinating on yourself. You see, that cement dust, inhaling it has everything you inhale through your nose gets to the lungs. And we're having a lot of risk of cancers. A lot of cancers are now on the rise. As a student, we used to see cancers among old people. But now it's young people. Because of the kind of exposures, industrialization that we are going to. Now people you have to break that cement bag, you have to pour it. As that dust comes, they don't wear any protective mask. You're just inhaling it into your lungs. And those things are carcinogenic. It will go into the lungs, continue irritating the lungs. Soon, lung cancers can develop. Talk about the skin. Those things coming in contact with the skin, that's why a woman's skin is naturally soft. My skin is not like a woman's own. So when you have some of those things always coming in contact, with the skin, talk about skin irritations. Before the skin can start undergoing certain changes. Skin cancers can also ensue from such things. The nerves are controlled, the uterus, the vagina, the bladder, the rectum. They originate from the lumbar spine. The lumbar is the lower back. Now, from that frequent having to bend down, even as you're carrying those heavy things, the pressure, the whole load is transmitting all the way down. And that's now how you now have people, you now see people coming down with collapse of the lumbar spine. The same thing we described will also happen. So when you now have that spine pressing on the lumbar spinal cord, the same thing will happen. The nerve supplies to some of those reproductive organs to become lost. So you start having problems with your cycle as a woman, for some of the pelvic muscles, because it is still those nerves that sustain those pelvic muscles. So some of those pelvic muscles now become also weak because they're not getting enough supply from the nerves. You now start seeing incidences of weakness of the pelvic muscles, which can cause prolapse of the vagina. So you see a woman opens her legs and the uterus and the vagina are coming out from, the woman's private parts.
Reflective of women who engage in hard labor, Nena is an embodiment of resilience and optimism. Her story demands to be heard. It is a call to acknowledge their struggle, honor their sacrifice, and to answer their cry for a better tomorrow.
Too much.